What's up? Back at you with another video. Glad you watched the Katlego versus Nota video that came out before this one. So we are now jumping into this one. We are now listening to Nota giving us more context about what he said in the previous video regarding the Katlego situation, and beyond that. He's dealing with the issue of the DA, their governance, how poor the black people are living under them. There are of girls in South Africa. They are by way of tourism and human trafficking, girls into prostitution, and he's talking now about white men being the face of all of these things because of what Cape Town and the Western Cape looks like with the colored
I voted for the
people.
DA at first. Oh, I can't remember.
What are we going to do here?
But from what I'm seeing in my community, I don't think that right now the DA can stand on any mountaintop and shout that, they're the best when it comes to service delivery. I think Action SA has shown them up in Tshwane already. I travel to the Western Cape a lot. I know how it is. Have you ever been to Mbekweni? Just imagine. Do you know what Mbekweni means? It's a place of respect. A place of
respect. Mbekweni, a place of respect.
The most undignified place to
Just, are you serious? This is in Cape Town?
in Paarl.
Oh, in Paarl. So I
Between
know,
Paarl and
I
Wellington.
know Nyang, I know Ilang, I know Kukuletu, Khayelitsha, I know all of those townships.
Have you ever been to the Doorns?
Mbekweni I've never been.
So if you go to the farming towns outside of Cape Town, that's the thing is that, yes, the Cape Flats inside the city, that's bad as well. But also the farming communities. If you go further out, it's much worse over there.
And that's where Jan van Riebeck arrived at.
That's where they set up all their first.
We're dealing now with the white people. DJ Sbu is taking it there where Jan van Riebeck arrived. Remember, he was with Rob Hersov recently. Somebody rich, somebody powerful, somebody with a heritage similar to a lot of people whose line is Jan van Riebeck. It seems like the Hersovs moved here at some point, so they are not Afrikaners. I think Rob Hersov is a Jewish man.
Stations.
When they settled here.
Yeah.
When our problems began.
In the words of Jacob Zuma. I think our problems began even before that, but
our major problems. When people took our land.
Yeah. So that's another thing that,
DJ Sbu is now being pro-African, gay, talking about the land.
I feel very upset by is that, we live with colored people. We are so upset at this Omotoso case and making Omotoso a monster. You need to understand that the mere fact that there's such a large community of colored people means that colonizers came here and raped a lot of women. The evidence is alive, is breathing, you know what I mean, to this day. The face of sexual abuse, the face of, rape, the face of gender-based violence is a white face in South Africa, based on the evidence. But based on the narrative, based on the media's lens or the filter, is that the face of criminality is black. You have to be a black man to be a criminal. You have to be a black person to violate other people. And white people get to walk into, life and be completely absolved of any guilt or any responsibility in what they're doing. There's a case right now, aside from this Justice for Twitwe case, which is also another child sexual abuse case. There's a case of child pornography. A young white man, I think he's 33 years old. He's my age, you know what I mean? It's being heard at the Randburg Magistrates Court. He was caught, I don't know, with how many terabytes of child porn.
Sure.
What do you say? Some of you might be jumping in the comments who are white men, taking this as an opportunity to springboard and launch towards black people and say, no, it's you. And this conversation about white people versus black people being the image or the posters of sexual abuse comes as well in light of the Kwekwe alleged rape, where the teacher has been pointed fingers towards. And Q here, I saw just a moment, Owamie is now in this conversation as well. Hey, some quick shameless self-promotion over here. If you love and enjoy this channel and you also happen to love dope gadgets, you can support my new baby, my new startup, my new retail venture, Gadget Plug. In case you've only ever known me as a YouTuber, you'll be glad to know that I'm also a wedding and documentary film producer, pro video editor, and all-round entrepreneur with a love for high-end gadgets like cinema cameras, gaming consoles, powerful GPUs, computers, and mobile phones. And my electronics store Gadget Plug is your new go-to place for the latest and greatest in tech. We're talking real gadgets, real quality, real quick, at the best prices in all of South Africa. To know more about this, head on over to my website imneo.co.za and check out my e-commerce store today. As we officially kick off business, Gadget Plug has stock right now of iPhone 16 Pro Max in 256 and 512 gig at 25,000 and 28,000 respectively. Simply press the green button at the bottom of my website if you want to inquire, and one of my friendly customer service agents will attend to you. Thank you very much for your support. And now back to the video.
And the principal, who, guys, even if Coco's father, cousin, whoever submitted, those were not the three that Runa we were actually still wanting. And the two had submitted. The only one that had not submitted was the principal. And that's why people were striking, and that's why we're fighting.
And that's why we're fighting.
I like Owamie. She has takes and videos about people that I like, and so we'll be visiting her stuff from time to time because this is a political and social commentary channel. It's not a podcast. We don't have long form conversations over here, so that's what we're dealing with. Y'all heard Owamie. Let's jump back into this one. I finish asking the question? I was asking the question, who do you think is the face of this kind of abuse? Is it black? Is it white? Or can we both agree that crime has no color? And whenever crime shows itself, we look at each and every case and we never generalize past that. That's my take.
Just imagine how many children are being violated at scale. They're violating kids on an industrial scale to the point that they've got terabytes of that violation. And there's no protests outside the Randburg Magistrates Court. There's no movement behind them. There's no one that's funding calls for justice and calls to actually prosecute these people that are, producing this content, that are contributing to the human trafficking crisis that we've got in South Africa. And on the other side of that as well, people are naive. They're blind. They're not seeing. A lot of women have been misled, have been fooled. They think that there's some sort of liberation that they're getting by embracing their sexuality publicly. You know what I mean? They're freeing themselves. But what they're doing is that they're trading their dignity for attention. They're getting attention. A lot of people are addicted to attention. They love attention. You know what I mean? If I wanted attention right now, I would strip naked on this camera. Strip naked, I know it will get millions of views. I've got dignity. I have to dress up. I wear my dignity. I'd rather have my dignity than that attention. So the attention that they seek and that they want, right, is something that is spreading like a contagion. Everybody now wants attention. I saw a video that was being reacted to by one of my favorite YouTubers now, because I love watching her content. It makes me angry enough to keep watching. It's the content that makes me angry. That's what I watch the most, actually. And I think people should actually try that too. The more it makes you angry, the more you watch it. You know what I mean? So that you're not only trapped in your own perspective and your own belief system. So Citizen Concerned posted a video about a young girl. I think I didn't watch the video because as soon as I saw a young girl in school uniform and I saw that it has to do with something about dancing inappropriately, I'm like, I don't watch this. I'm not the target market. I'm not a sick person. You know what I mean? I don't take delight in seeing young girls that look like me being violated. You know what I mean? Whether it's being violated like physically or being held or being used, like photos of them, videos of them being used to attract the wrong sort of attention. Because what sort of attention are you trying to attract by showing a girl, a young child that is dancing inappropriately? Whose attention are you trying to get? You know what I mean? And why is it that you're able to post other people's children for whatever content that you're trying to make? So with all of that, young girls that are growing up are being trained into discarding their dignity at the earliest convenience. You know what I mean? I saw someone posting an OnlyFans link and someone said, so you skipped ShopRite? You couldn't get a job at ShopRite?
Hey, yo, the baby's crying. Let me bring her on camera, yo. She's frustrating my grandma. My wife done stepped out.
Get a job at APSA. But I mean, there's no more jobs at APSA now these days. You couldn't get a small call center job. You went straight to giving away your dignity and selling your body online. And it's been normalized. It's like, yes, that's a normal decision that a young girl can take. And there's no condemnation that is coming from the woman. So as much as their right to be upset and to be outraged at the outcome of the Omotoso case because of how it was handled. I know a lot of people were watching that trial. I watched some of that trial, and also the way it was handled, especially the cross-examination, I felt, was literally throwing the case. You know what I mean? I mean, it looked like the way in which the prosecution handled the case, it looked like there was a brown envelope that was involved in them. That's what it looked like. You know what I mean? It just is so terrible. I'm not close enough to the case to be able to prove that, but to make it worse, someone who was part of whistleblowing on the case and an investigation ends up being killed. You know what I mean? So someone dies, the case is being mishandled by the prosecution, and the case eventually collapses, and there's an acquittal on procedural or technical grounds as to how the case was being handled. So there's outrage about that. Where is the outrage for the fact that especially South African black girls are being posted online to be used to promote sex tourism in South Africa?
Yes.
That is it. Is young girls from UKZN who are cheerleaders dancing for varsity rugby games, you know what I mean, are now being used in content, and the comments about it. And then I see women react and saying, oh, we're being sexualized, we're being this. And I'm like, but let me look at your timeline. This is you, back shots. This is you wearing your underwear. This is you showing us cleavage. This is you showing us camel toe. This is you fighting for attention.
What is camel toe?
No. Isn't it?
Stay off it, smoother.
It is Petis in Jojo.
That's your camel toe. I box my head.
Okay, yeah, actually, yeah.
I'm just
no, I know that. So yeah, so they post that, you know what I mean? And it's
Volkswagen. Sometimes it's called number 11. I'll leave it right there.
Jimmy.
Even the team. What else could I
I'm sorry, that's Jimmy.
Hey!
Because of the camel toe, it's just too much.
I
No. So,
No.
and for them, they think it's innocent enough.
Sorry,
But they are not seeing the effects that it's having. It's role modeling for the younger girls. When your daughter starts wearing dresses, starts playing dress up as a child, it's role modeling. Starts playing with dolls. The dolls are going to do what the child sees her mother doing. You watch children play, they play with their toys, and they reenact what they've seen their parents doing, what they've seen elder people doing. So if they're now watching iPad, Cocomelon, Instagram, and all these things online, they're no longer playing with dolls like they are. And the content that is on these platforms, even TikTok, they know how to make OnlyFans promotional content. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you can see that this TikTok is promoting an OnlyFans. Just by looking at it, you can see that, okay, clearly there's, like, if I go to the Instagram page, I'll find the other link, and then I'll see the OnlyFans or what. You can see.
Serious?
Yeah. Yeah, by showing it. So now that all this content is on there, kids are being made to twerk, you know what I mean? John Vulligate trended. Then we find out that the girls are still in high school. Then all of a sudden, everyone feels like a pedophile because they watch this content. But the reason why they normalized it is because that sort of content is being shown to us and promoted. It's shown in all the music videos. And it was in foreign music videos at first. But then, because we wanted to be on the same level as what we see happening in Hollywood, we copied that as well. And we started seeing it in our music videos and it being normalized within our culture. And now it's normal. You know what I mean? In fact, it would be wrong for you to call out a woman that's dressing inappropriately. You know what I mean? If you watch The Breakfast Club, for our international viewers, there's a show on radio in the United States called The Breakfast Club with Charlamagne,
Angela Yee,
and DJ Envy, and Jess Hilarious. Right? And
what happened to Angela Yee?
She's got her own show. She's got her own separate show.
That's one they're calling into Jess Sbu.
And no, she's got another show.
Oh, she's got a show.
Her own show, yeah.
On Power.
The T with Angela.
Oh, not the. But she also has a podcast, right?
Yeah, her own show. I don't know.
No, she's got a podcast. Yeah,
Yeah, you see, I don't watch that sort of content. You know what I mean?
What do you think of Jess Hilarious? No, I was just asking because she was a co-host.
Yeah, no, Jess Hilarious as well. I felt like the way she dealt with the drama surrounding the new co-host that is being brought in, it just shows the amount of work we need to do on black women.
Because she's been there for about 1.5 years, if not 2 years now. I think she started just...
Yeah, I saw a new co-host there, and there was already drama with the lady who has been there there's somebody much newer.
The COVID-19.
She started during the COVID times after Angela Yee left. You know, she left and went on maternity leave. When she comes back, someone who's better at the job that she was asked to do is there. And unfortunately, as sisters, we need to respect that sometimes, you know, there's only one seat at the table in the broadcast. And you need to want the best person for the job to do that job, you know, even if it's another black woman.
So they got in somebody else now to replace her.
They put someone else as
To
a
stand in.
stand-in.
Yeah.
And now
And that person kicked ass.
that person is kicking ass.
Or even now she's still on there.
And she comes from TMZ, you know, she's a producer from TMZ. So, you know, if you come from TMZ, it's like if you come from Shwashwi and now you're on a Smolanyana blog. I mean, whoever you find there on that Smolanyana blog, I come from Shwashwi. I mean, I'm gonna, you know what I mean?
Like ngidlala ikarati la mina ngifuma ndoda eshine.
Yeah.
You know, but Chukara once said the same thing, how he got his show on Josie FM. Uguti, somebody had gone on leave and then they put him on a big show to say, stand in.
Yo, there's been an off-ramp. I hope they get back on the issue of the young women. It's enough now. Cool.
And then he kicked ass. And the management ended up asking that person to die as in. So we want to leave. And that Fresh used to say that as well. But you know, even when I go and leave, I love my job so much so that I know when to come back quickly, not to stay for too long. Because once they put in a stand-in who kicks ass, the audience ends up getting used to that new
That's
person.
it.
Or
Or
management
like-
starts reconsidering.
Or maybe the audience didn't like you and they like this.
Maybe they just had to tolerate you.
And you know what I mean? And you need to accept that. So the way in which they dealt with that whole entire situation showed me that, you know, our sisters need training, especially as black women. We can't progress like this with this pull her down syndrome amongst our black sisters. That stops them from working effectively together, continuously and consistently, you know, over a period of years. We haven't been able to see that. There is no group of women that has benchmarked this for us. So, or at least set the standard, you know, to say, this is how sisters support one another. So the way in which they supported that is the same way in which I see this reaction to the over-sexualization of young women. It's a more sinister way of doing it. Let me put it to you like this. It's as if someone, let's use Jess Hilarious as an example of this, right? Let's say I told Jess Hilarious to go on maternity leave, knowing that the person that's going to replace her when she comes back.
Yo, I think I'll just leave it over here. You'll watch DJ Sbu and Nota yourself if you want to pick up where that conversation might have ended up, if it continues or not. But I hope you are opening your eyes. You are watching and being cognizant of how the ground gets moved underneath us. The girls in our society, the young, they are robbed of their dignity. It's stripped very early, and then it happens gradually, and then it accelerates at some point, and then they are left with nothing. Bit by bit, watch as they go down the funnel from dancing on a small stage as a child to now landing up on Katlego's channel and now growing up to be a child who aspires to be a Miley Cyrus. Ladies and gentlemen, like, share, comment, and subscribe. I will see you in the next one.